Hello guys, it's Trigger Art here, and with another video. In today's video, we're going to be focusing mainly on how to draw any body types, proportions in figure drawing. So here I won't be focusing on line arts, shading, whatever, and all those details. I'll just be focusing on proportions. Not proportions per se, but body types, like how to draw body types. Now we are starting on the slimmer type body. A slimmer type body is much more refined in its shapes. It's not much softer. You normally would go for slimmer shapes, cylinder type shapes, more slimmer type shapes. Those are the types of shape you would go for. First of all, you would obviously need to study in anatomy in order to understand how the body works and all that. And it's much more curvy. The body is much more curvy, much more curviest type body, like the knees and all that. Do not go for I wouldn't advise for you to go for straight lines, using straight lines, because the body is not straight, it's bumpy, and there's no part of the body that is straight like a ruler, like straight type body. It's much more refined, it's much more curvy and all those. So yeah, the shapes that you would go for are much more curvy type shapes, with don't go for slim type shapes, because they would, like, your drawing would end up looking flat and all that. So yeah, now working on the knees. The knees are like a bumpy, a lot more bumpy than other shapes, types like joints. That it's where the body, normally where the two parts of the body meet. That's where it becomes more refined. The parts where like elbows, like shoulders, like the knee, and all those. So you would go for that. Here I'm just showing you simplifying the shapes, so that it becomes easier for you when you are entering the line art. Others work on the figures and go for the rough sketch, like how I normally work. Go for the rough sketch and then do the line art. Since I love much more cleaner lines, so I would start off in a roughish and then go for more cleaner lines. But others don't need that. They just go for rough lines. Others go just for neat lines without using proportion. But for beginners, it's best to start off with figure drawings, so it will help you to get used for your memory, for your long-term memory, to get used to the shapes. So if you keep practicing, if you keep drawing this type of shapes all the time, it will with time it will become a piece of cake. You will get better and better with time, with practice, with obviously meditation and all that. So your brain has to get used to those types of shapes. As here I'm working on the arm, showing you a zoomed version of the arm, so you can see, for those who cannot see properly from a distance. So yeah, hopefully that will be helpful. Again, simplifying the shapes more. The head, I didn't get too much into the details of how to draw a head. I think that's for another video, but here it's the overall shapes. They didn't want to make the video longer than it is, so hopefully would focus on the head specifically on another separate video. So yeah, the elbow more rounded shapes that those shapes are the round shapes describe or show how where the body meets, where different body parts meet. So I used circles to describe that, joints as well. The arm, it consists, fingers consists of three parts, three bone structures. The lower part where the nails are, the mid part, and the part that joins with the arm, which is there are three. So you would see some people struggle drawing an arm because of that. They just use the more straight line. So for bigger characters, you would go for much more bigger, rounder shapes, there. You think of something more chubby type shapes, one might say, more around the ovally shaped, softer shapes. When you think of something roundy and fuzzy, you normally think of those kind of shapes, the round type shapes. And you see on the chest are normally falling. They are not straight. They look like they are falling apart. So yeah, those are the type of things which one should pay attention to. Like even the arm, they are not much more refined, much more straight, much more cornery, filled with corners, and they're much more a bit subtle, and there are less bones. You can't see any bones because the skin is so thick that the bones are just within, unlike a much more slimmer body type like me. One who's slimmer is his bones are like basically all over the place. So yeah, much more rounder shapes, even thighs, even yeah, they're much more ovally, a bit squeezed ovally type shape. So if you squeeze a circle, think of like shapes like those. A squeezed circle, which makes an ovally. Those are how I draw thighs. The knees, obviously, I use circular shapes for knees. They are better to describe. Even though on a bigger person, they are not that refined, as similar to a bigger, a slimmer person. You see those squeezed circular shapes to describe the body, and on the slimmer person you go for much more blocky type shapes, to help you and all that. So yeah, here just simplifying the shapes for you so that you can see. This also helps to study the shapes. It will help you when you see bodies. You will see them in a more shape-like structure, and that also helps in terms of memory. You'd go, oh, it's a circular shape for the arm, or for the joint. Oh, is this for it's a more cylinder type shape for the leg and all that. So it helps for your memory. It helps you, especially when going for lines. It makes it much more easier, if you catch my drift. So yeah, the three parts joints, they help. If you go for much more straighter fingers, the arm won't be able to bend and all that. So that's why it has all the three parts to help you grab and all that. And the thumb is not positioned like the rest of the body up. It's much more towards facing. It's much more positions towards the top compared to the other four fingers. So yeah. Right, simpler shapes. if you like this types of video, please obviously comment, like, share, subscribe and all that, and help me tell me if whether I should do a part 2 of this particular video where I focus on lines, where I focus on line art and all that, how to properly do line art and all that, neater line art and all those types of stuff. So a muscular character is a combination. It's like a combination of the two, both the bigger, fatter character as well as the slimmer character. When you mix those, it becomes easier for you to draw a much muscular, refined person. It's like a combi. He's much more bulked, he's much more bigger and much more slimmer and refined as well, if you understand. So if you mix those two particular shapes, the much more ovally shaped, roundish shapes, as well as the more boxy type shapes, it combines. When you are working on muscles, since muscles are much more refined, it becomes easier for you to really draw muscular characters. And I believe the muscular characters are much more fun to draw, especially if you you understand how anatomy works, anatomy and all that, how it works, how muscles, where they go. I'm not yet a pro in that criteria, but I know at least the basics of how, where six packs and chest and all those, where they go. The part I would say I might be struggling with is maybe the back, even though I might understand the basics of how the back muscles work, but when you get into the more detailed, refined body types, I'm not quite as would say great, although I'm still learning. Obviously learning is it's a lifelong journey, bruh. One can never stop learning. So yeah, I personally don't regard myself as a pro. I don't know if whether people regard me as a pro, but I would say I'm more in the intermediate phase, or might be slightly towards the intermediate lower class, one might say. That's how I see myself, I guess. But yeah, at least hopefully you can learn a thing or two from me. Yeah, so muscles, that's a video for another time, I guess, as well, to get into details on where the positions of muscles and all that. Yeah, I'm focusing on figures, on how to draw the figures, you observing me as I work through this drawing, how it works, where everything goes, where the proportion goes. Yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, as for the rest, we'll get into that in another video. But I think this is all I needed to say. I hope you got something out of this video. It was of value. So yeah, man, this is it. You're gonna be seeing much more of here, working on the a feast, much more of a feast, like hopefully you can see that clearly on where the position and where it goes and all that. So yeah, and I'm currently working on a project, on a comic project called Holy Justice. One of the reasons why I can no longer post videos on a daily basis. It's like working on something else. And I also have a second gaming channel, so I'll link in the description. It's brand new, same to as this channel started like a month ago. So you can support me by subscribing there as well. And updates on the comic, I'll also post updates in my Facebook. Links in the description. If you love these types of videos, obviously you can like, comment, subscribe. It will be help a great deal. Always helps a great deal. So yeah, man, hope this video was of great value, and see you guys on the next one.
Ooh.